Hello everyone, welcome back. Let's talk about another medium problem on Leetcode today. Minimum time difference, Leetcode 539. In this problem, we are given a list of 24-hour clock time points in HHMM format, and we should return the minimum minutes difference between any two time points in the list. Then in example 1, points are given as 23, 5, 9 and 0, 0. I have drawn this 24-hour clock to visualize the problem. Generally, when we see a circular clock, it is a 12-hour one. But here we are looking at 24-hour format. Think of a time as a circle where the clock hand starts from 0000 and go up till 23:59, and then eventually they come back to 0 again instead of 24. So now coming back to our problem, time points are given as 23:59 and 0000. So that will be this point. So the difference between them is 1 minute. Similarly, in example 2, time points are given as 00. So that is this one. 23:59, that is this one, and 0000. So that is again this one. So here we can see that 2 points occur at 0000. So the time difference between them is 0 minutes. So that is why we will return 0 as an answer. Now let's jump into the solution space. Now let's take the time point 0130, 0230, 1041, 1726 and 2204 for better understanding. So I've denoted points as point 0, point 1. I've also drawn these points on our circular clock and denoted them with point 0, point 1, point 2, point 3 and point 4. Now we have to calculate the difference between different points and find the minimum between them. So how do we calculate the time difference in minutes between the points, say point 0 and point 1, that is 0130 and 0230? Doing the string manipulation to get the hours and minutes and then calculating a difference between them may not be very efficient. So how about we convert all these strings to same unit, that is time in minutes. So for example, for 0130, we split it based on the colon and then we get hours as 1 and minutes as 30. So to convert this hour into minutes, we multiply by 60. So we get 1 into 60 plus 30, that is 90 minutes. Similarly, for 0 to 30, it will be 2 into 60 plus 30. So that will give us 150. So now the difference between them is 60 minutes, but we have to do it for all the points. So the naive approach can be that we calculate the pairwise difference between all the points, like we find the difference between point 0 and point 1, point 0 and point 2, point 0 and point 3, and so on. And then we return the minimum difference among them. But this approach we can already see has a time complexity of O of n square, which is not very efficient. And in the diagram, we can already see that time is linear and circular. For example, if I find the difference between the point 0 and 2, then the difference will always be higher than the difference between point 1 and 2, right? And the problem is to find the minimum time difference. So the time difference between point 0 and point 2 will actually be redundant. So how about we sort the point and then calculate the difference between two adjacent points, because that is more relevant for the problem. Also note that it doesn't matter if we find a difference in the clockwise manner or counterclockwise manner. The time difference between the 2 points will always be same. So for example, the time difference between point 0 and point 1 will always be 1 hour if we subtract 90 minutes from 150 or 150 from 90. So if we sort the points in ascending order or descending order, the difference will be the same. So let's sort them in the ascending order. And before that, let's calculate all the times in minutes. So for point 0, it was 90 minutes. For point 1, it will be 150 minutes. For point 2, it will be 10 into 60, that is 600 plus 41, that is 641 minutes. Similarly, point 3 will be 1046 minutes and point 4 will be 1324 minutes. And now we sort the time points. So we will get 90, 150, 641, 1046 and 1324. And here, luckily, the time points were already sorted. But for our algorithm, we still need to sort it. So now we calculate the difference between two adjacent points. So for point 0 and point 1, it will be 60 minutes. For point 1 and point 2, it will be 491 minutes. For point 2 and point 3, it will be 1046 minus 641. So that will give us 405. And the time difference between point 3 and point 4 will be 1324 minus 1046. So that will give us 278 minutes. So far, so good. But we still need to handle the circular property of the time. That is, we need to also find the time difference between point 4 and point 0. Because if you look at the circular diagram, they are actually adjacent. So we need to calculate the time difference between them as well. And how do we calculate the time difference? Let's look at this circle. Suppose we have only 2 points and one of the point is here and another point is here. Then just by looking at the diagram, what is the minimum difference here? And the answer will be this one. But now suppose we have other two time points and one of the time point is here and another time point is here. So then what is the minimum time difference? And the answer will be this one. Here, for example, this point was earlier and this point was later. The clockwise difference actually works. But here we have to go counterclockwise. So because of this circular nature, we need to calculate the time difference in both the direction, but only for first point and the last point. And then we also track the minimum difference, and whatever is the minimum value, that will be our answer. So in all these points, what is the minimum difference we had so far? And that is 60. So we will set our minimum time difference to 60. But this may not be the final answer because we still need to calculate the time difference between point 0 and point 4. So what will that be? For that, we can go counterclockwise. So for going counterclockwise, we have to add 24 hours to point 0. 24 hours are 1440 minutes. So we add 24 hours, that is 1440 minutes, to 0130 or 90 minutes. Now this time is in the future and now this time is behind. So we can actually again subtract this time and that will be 1324 and this will give us 206. So now we take the minimum between 206 and 60 and we will get minimum as 60 as our answer. And now let's jump into the code part. So first let's convert all the time points from string time to time in minutes. And for that we can just create a list of time points in minutes. And now we can just loop on all the time points and get the time in minutes. And for that we can write a utility function and let's call it convert to minutes and pass in this time value as string and add the result back to the minute list. And now we can sort this minute list. Now let's calculate our min difference and that will be our answer. So initially we can set it to max value. And now we loop on this minute list to get the time difference between the adjacent times. So the reason I'm taking I equal to 1 is because I can then use I minus 1 to get the previous point in time and do the difference between them clockwise. So now we calculate the difference between the current point and the previous point and update our min diff based on it. So it will be minimum of current min diff and the current difference that we have got. And now we need to handle the circular property of the time. So we calculate the diff between the first point and the last point in a counterclockwise way. So we will just do 1440 plus time of first point and minus time of last point. And now we update the min difference and let's return the answer. And actually, instead of initializing mindiff to integer.max value, I could have initialized mindiff to midnight diff, but it's up to you. Now let's write our convert to minutes function. It takes in time and returns integer minutes. First, let's split the time string around colon. So we will get two parts. First part will be the hours part. We convert it to integer. Second part will be minutes part. We also convert it to integer. And finally, we return hours into 60 plus minutes. So that will give us our time in minutes. So now let's run this code. Oh, we have a typo. I should be using capital P here. Let's run this code again. Let's submit this. Cool. In terms of time complexity, it will be O of n log n, mainly coming from this sort method. And when we convert the time points from string format to integer minutes, that takes O of n time. And calculating the minimum difference from the minute list also takes O of n time. So overall the time complexity is O of n log n. And in terms of space complexity, it will be O of n because we are using this minute list to store all the integer minutes. So I hope this video was useful to you. If it was, please like, share and subscribe. The code link is in the description below. If you have any questions or suggestions, please write them in the comment box. Thank you for watching. Have a nice time.